This news update is brought to you by
Rock the remote with hours of free karaoke on video on demand from Flow. So bring it like Bay. There's even wonderful kids sing-alongs too. Available anytime. Simply press the VOD button on your Flow remote. This is how we do TV. This is how we flow.
It's Tuesday, January the 19th, 2016, and this is your Barbados Today morning news update. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Thanks for joining us. In our top story, a veteran farmer and well-respected commentator has poured cold water on government's plans to build 2 desalination plants as a long-term solution to water woes facing residents across the island. Richard Ho, the farmer of more than 50 years, who has been harvesting rainwater to use on his farm, said he did not believe desalination was the solution. He insisted that rainwater harvesting should be the primary initiative, and he said it should especially be considered among farmers and hotel operators. Education Minister Ronald Jones says he would not like to see a repeat of the boycott of the last year's Caribbean Examinations Council Schools-Based Assessments program, and he is calling on teachers to be reasonable in their pay demands. Jones's call follows a recent meeting between education officials and representatives of the Barbados Secondary Teachers Union. But BSTU President Mary Redmond says while the members will continue to assist students in preparing for their school-based assessments this year, they will not correct any scripts unless they are paid to do so.
I've put forward some ideas as to how I see that it can be looked at. There's still challenges, and where I surely don't want to see what happened last year repeat itself. I am always conscious of the students not being aggravated or annoyed or confusion put in their way as they pursue what is theirs to pursue within the both CSEC, CAPE, CCSLC, or any of the examinations. But I don't carry any pain in relation to the matter. I think that where reasonable people can sit down and discuss what are the ramifications of their actions and what are the processes we need to resolve some of these matters, then that can be achieved.
Former CLICO Executive Chairman Leroy Paris plans to file a constitutional motion in the High Court in an attempt to access his $4.5 million bank account that has been frozen for nearly a year. An upset Hal Gollop QC, who represents Paris, told Barbados Today that after waiting for so long for a ruling from the High Court on his application to lift an interim injunction that froze his client's assets, he is left with no option but to file a constitutional motion to speed up the process. On January 27th last year, Justice William Chandler ordered the assets frozen in an ex parte hearing filed by CLICO's judicial manager, Deloitte Consulting Limited, against Paris as first defendant and his private company, Brandley Consulting Services, Inc., as a second defendant. The claim also named the estate of late Prime Minister David Thompson, represented by his widow and executrix, Mara Thompson, as the third defendant. The 30-year-old non-governmental organization Prison Fellowship Barbados is fully behind Frenville Stewart's administration's proposal to use electronic monitoring devices that would slash the number of persons remanded to Her Majesty's Prison, Dulles St. Philip. Attorney General and Minister of Home Affairs Adriel Brathwaite is examining the relevant legislation that would facilitate the implementation of electronic devices and see persons remaining at home rather than behind bars. Chairman of Prison Fellowship Barbados, Wayne Callender, thinks it's a step in the right direction.
Electronics monitoring serves a purpose in that it saves the taxpayers money because you don't have to house them and feed them while they're up there waiting for the case to come up. They can go about if they have jobs and the people who hire them and they run afoul of some law, but the people still want to keep them employed. They would still be able to make a contribution to their upkeep and to the families. So it would be a positive step to take because it benefits the community and it gives that person a chance sometimes to think about what they have done also.
Calendar also supports the early release of convicts in certain circumstances as another means of easing the crowded Dow's prison.
The giving pardon has to go along with other things, and you have to look at who will be given pardon, why they will be given that pardon. And you have to have some organization or board or something set up so that you do the due diligence, you check them out and make sure that they could really benefit from being given pardon. Because, face it, there's some people who you give pardon and then they come out and they do the same thing.
One private waste hauler is offering to lend his vehicles to government in light of the shortage of trucks at the Sanitation Service Authority. Managing Director of Jose y Jose, Anderson Cherry, has written to Environment Minister Dr. Dennis Law, offering his 5 trucks for rental. Cherry's offer comes on the heels of recent unsightly pilots and bitter complaints from residents about delays in collecting their refuse. In sports now, world number 1 Novak Djokovic says he was offered but rejected £110 to lose a match early in his tennis career. However, the 10-time Grand Slam champion contended that match fixing was not prevalent at the top level of the game, as allegations of corruption overshadowed the start of the Australian Open. Head of the Association of Tennis Professionals has rejected claims that evidence of match fixing had been suppressed for any reason or isn't being thoroughly investigated.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Secure your future, be financially strong. Since 1983, we have been there for you. A smart range of products, great tax benefits. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. Humble beginnings to smart loans, smart savings. Save smart and borrow smarter. That's the move for me. Stability, prosperity. We're the solution to your hopes and your dreams. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union. The Barbados Workers Union Cooperative Credit Union.
Turning now to regional news, 4 Trinidad and Tobago nationals are among 961 foreign members of ISIS captured by Turkish security forces. A Turkish publication reported on a December list of persons captured from 57 countries, and it put China at the top with 324 citizens caught in Turkey fighting for ISIS. Still in news from Trinidad, 6 police officers were granted a total of $4.5 million bail when they appeared in court yesterday on 42 offenses. The officers are alleged to have committed armed robbery, false imprisonment, and attempting to pervert the course of justice. Now, they were granted bail and ordered to report to a police station every Monday and Thursday between 6 a.m. and 6 p.m. They were also ordered to surrender their passports. The case has been adjourned to February the 15th. On the international scene, a British Labour MP has claimed during a 3-hour House of Commons debate that stopping U.S. Republican presidential frontrunner Donald Trump from entering the UK risks turning him into a martyr. Paul Flynn said Trump's call to ban Muslims from the U.S. was extremely dangerous, but barring him from the UK risk being seen as anti-American. However, SNP parliamentarian Tazmi Ahmed Sheikh said a ban would be justified on the grounds of religious harmony. Yesterday's debate, which took place in a packed Westminster Hall committee room, ended without a vote. And finally, 5 French foreign legionnaires have been killed and 6 injured in an avalanche while on a training exercise in the Alps. The avalanche came down close to Valfouge, not far from the Italian border, where some 50 soldiers were training off-piste. Search dogs and helicopters immediately began looking for the soldiers. Last week, 2 school pupils and a Ukrainian tourist were killed by an avalanche nearby. And on that note, we end our Barbados Today morning news update. However, you can join us again this afternoon. Until then, remember to log on to www.barbadostoday.bb, Subscribe to our e-paper email updates or like us on Facebook. You can also catch us on Izumi Media in bus terminals or screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Also tune into Channel 101 on Flow TV and Mix 96.9 FM to get all the latest news and sports. I'm Emmanuel Joseph. Have a fantastic day.